Hello there, and today I want to talk about something called FOSS or FOSS. What is FOSS? It stands for free and open source software. So, what is, you know, free and open source software? Like, are we talking about money? No, we are not. So, what are we talking about? Um, Free here means something called freedom. Now it's went a bit tiny in the end, but either way, we're talking about free as in freedom. And what does it mean? It means that a piece of software, let's say we have a software thing, your typical box, and why not? So what it means is that when you download this software, you get the source code. So now you get all the files, and why not with all of the all the access source code for it. And what also means is that you can distribute it. So let's say we have the original software here. Let's call it so. What it means is when uh, let's call this Y, you buy this software O, it means you can basically fork it off and make your own versions of it. And of course, you can redistribute it. So you can distribute the code again to other people, and then you can get multiple access, which are basically multiple copies of same software. Then somebody could go and once again get O, and they could make their own fork of it, and they could call this let's call this something else, like let's call it am for modified. And then you could once again end up with customers or people downloading it, get this fork instead. So basically, free and open source software means it's software you can see the source code of. You get source code when you download software. It's open accessible to you when you get software, and you can free distribute whatever you got as far as software goes. So basically, you can't prevent people from doing their things. People can do whatever they want with the code. They can share it. They can, modify it. Of course, auto licenses require them to, actually give credit and things like that. But still, free and open source means you can freely share it. And something like Windows, it's not a good logo, but anyway, let's imagine this Windows logo. It's a bad drawn one, but regardless, let's imagine that. You know, Windows, this is what we call proprietary. This is what we call proprietary. And what does this mean? It means that if the same original source code, O, this time if you buy the software, you're right, you don't get the you don't get source code. The source code remains upon uh, upon the original uh, company or whoever made software. So the actual software is kept within them. And most of you as the user have to agree to something like an EULA or some kind of a different agreement. Either way, there's the terms of service you have to agree to, which basically often states you cannot modify the software, you cannot reverse engineer it, and so on. So what you can do with software is indeed very limited. You cannot, you can't modify it. The software is as it is given to you. You cannot modify it. It's up to the company to do whatever they want, and that's that. You can modify it, you can't distribute it, that will be piracy, and it's kept within whoever made it. And why do we want free open source software instead of instead of proprietary software? There's many reasons for why it is. For one thing, anybody can contribute. So now once again we have our O, but this time instead of look at who can get the software, let's look at who can actually write to it. So if you have your original software, you can have X. Once again, you have your people. You can have multiple people. They can all write things. They can all contribute things into the original code. And as mentioned, somebody can take that code and they can make their own version of it if they're not happy with what exists. What this means is if the original maintainer, let's say we have an original maintainer called let's call them O. You have them here, but they stop making software. But then we have Y, and Y makes a fork of software. They can still, and then they keep maintaining the fork. We now have no O, but we still have Y, and people can still use this fork. Or alternatively, this O can go to Y, and Y can make a new version, or Y can continue O, and now we have O again. So our original piece of software is being continued again by our Y person. So even if software fails, or the original maintainer of it is, decides to stop maintaining it for whatever reason, somebody else can take it and somebody else can keep maintaining it. They can keep programming for it, and software can keep living on. It can keep getting new features, it can keep getting security updates, and people can still keep using it. But what if this happens to proprietary software? So once again, have our O, the proprietary company decides to kill it, and it ends that. Nobody can maintain it. Unless somebody's buy it, the software is gone. It's dead. Nobody can use it. So why? Nope, cannot use it. So that is one reason why you might want to use open source and free software. It can be redistributed as you want, so you can use it as you may want to use it. You don't have to restrict yourself to whatever your company might say to do with it. If you want something to keep receiving updates, you can. Also, if it makes a feature, so let's say there's an IDE. You have your interface and whatnot. You have your app menu here, your files here. Then you have like a bar here for controlling things, and you have your text editors here, some icons here again. A scroll bar here as well. But let's say there's an issue, or you don't like some UI part. Let's say you don't want the icons here, you want them somewhere else instead. And software doesn't allow you to do it. You want to be able to move this bar onto here, towards the bottom. You want to move it there. But the software doesn't have the function to do it. And if it's proprietary, once again, you cannot modify it. You cannot do anything with it. So no modifying it. It's going to be stuck there. Unless the company is shut in, you cannot move it. You cannot put it elsewhere. But if it's open source, if it is open source, if it's FOSS, you can go and edit it. You can reprogram the software. You can make your new code. So now you can end up with your bar here where you wanted it, and that's actually what you wanted to. Instead of it being there, you can have it down here, and that's actually what I want to do here. So that's not Millet's fuss. You can make things into what you want, and if you don't want to make it, if you don't want to go and program it, somebody else might. So and also you can always ask people to and so on. So you get a lot more freedom with what you can do. You can actually make your program as you want to make it. You can make your program the way you want it. If it's not what you want it to be, then you can program it if you have the skill. And if you don't, somebody else might. And that's of course very beneficial. It means you benefit from it. Now, of course, there's arguments against it. For example, how do you make money? You might think, nope, no money possible to make with FOSS software. But that's in many ways false. There are some ways you can, you can do donations. That's one way of doing things. But what you can also do is you can sell. You can sell. Now you might be wondering, if your software is open source, anybody can modify it, and it can share source code, anybody can do whatever. How can you sell your software? Like, what's the point? When I give it for free. The thing is, you don't necessarily give your software for free. You don't need to give it for free. You can charge money. You still need to share your source code. You need to give your source code to whoever buys your software. So if somebody, if you as O have it bought by Axe, Axe needs to have access to the source code. They need to be able to access source code. They need to be able to do whatever they want with it, and they need to be able to distribute it, and so on. But you only need to get source code. You don't need to give them anything else. For example, you don't need you don't usually sell software itself. You don't sell that source code because that's free. That's available. What you can sell is pre-made binaries. Binaries. What are binaries? So the source code is just a bunch of files. It's a collection of files that have the program code in it, basically. And that, of course, means somebody can't just take the code and suddenly have a working program. They need to make it working. And that takes effort. Sometimes people don't want to do that. So what can you do? So what are binaries then? Binaries are basically pre-made packages where basically all of this is taken in thorough. So our binary package contains all of the source code. It contains all the files, and it distributes it to work with all of with the operating system or with whatever you're using. Or if it is an operating system that is being, provided, then it gives the operating system. So, let's take something that we know, for example, Red Hat Linux. Um, you know, there's something called Red Hat OS, and Emacs is Red. Basically, it's a Linux distribution, and it's one you have to get an account and subscription, so on, to use. But it is open source, and that's where something like previously CentOS would have been doing. You see, you can't just download Red Hat for free. You can get their source code, but you cannot download Red Hat. You have to, pay them, and you can get download links and whatnot after doing that. However, you can access the source code of it, regardless of buying it or not. And that's where something like CentOS goes in. CentOS used to be, and still will be for a little bit, I guess, a copy of Red Hat. It's meant to replace Red Hat, but without the support and without the payment. So CentOS was pretty much just a copy of Red Hat. It was basically a different binary of the Red Hat source code. And so now, if you have our Red Hat binaries, you have your O, you have your O here. We have our previous O. But then we also have something called C here. And the C is CentOS. And they basically do source code, and they made their own product from that source code. And then they distributed that source code to users. And this means user can still access it, however, somebody has to package it. So you can still sell this original binary, and you can say charge money for it. However, somebody else can go and make their own binary of it. But what else does WordPress offer? How are they being profitable? That's support. What is support? Support is providing help to whoever buys their software. So, if a company wants to choose, you have your company, I'm going through buildings to represent it. You have your company A. They are buying, they are buying from Red Hat, which is all. They are buying their software from them. And what do they also get? They also get on top of the distribution. I'm going to go ahead and delete this bit of arrow. Uh, they are going to get support for their software. So they are going to get help for for how their software works. So they are going to get all the support. They are going to support for it. This is a phone, by the way. So they are going to support for how their how things work. So if they face issues with it, if they know how something works, Red Hat can help them. If they pay money for Red Hat, they are going to get that support. But if they get it from C, or CentOS, they can still run it, they can still use it, but they won't get the support. So there won't be help for them. They won't be able to get support for your software. None of that. They will only get the software itself. So while you may not be able to sell software itself, you can still sell support for it. And you can still sell the binary, of course. And that is a good reason for somebody to get your software. If somebody from a company wants your software, there's a good reason why they might want support. Because if their things stop working, they want to be able to have them working ASAP. That is important, and it may be worth the cost. So, selling free software is simply different from selling proprietary software. Because for proprietary software, it's simply buying software and any support they may want to provide. So no, you may or may not get support. You simply get whatever you buy, but you don't get anything else. That's you can't distribute it. You can't do anything. You just get whatever the company decides to give you. While it's open source, you get software, but you can do whatever you want with it. But then you can also pay for it. You can also pay for something else, which would okay, let's make a new one. So you can get this one for free, but you can also pay. You can also pay and get um you can also pay and get this plus deal. So and then it will go to X. So you can use both ways. Also, sometimes, once again, if there's no binary by anybody else, you will have to make your own binary if you don't want to pay. So that's how you want to be able to make money from open source, if you so decide to. Ultra best open source means sinister people, being able to contribute to the software. It means, you know, bugs. Bugs are going to be able to eliminated much quicker because if you have proprietary software, with proprietary software, the company decides how it does things. If they want to eliminate a bug, it's up to them. You have to rely on that company to do it. But what if what if it's open source? What if it's actually source code? You can yourself go look at it. You can go look at source code. You can see, you can go and locate debug yourself. You can find where this is yourself. Then what will happen is you can make a patch. You can make a patch, and then that will be the new software to be made. So you can contribute the actual code. You can yourself fix bugs, and this means anybody can fix bugs, which means bugs and issues can be fixed a lot quicker because if there's an issue, it can be dealt with without the company itself doing anything, if it's a company to begin with. So that the creator doesn't have to always do everything themselves. Somebody else can contribute to it. That makes things very convenient for everybody. So that's one great thing. And what's the problem with that? What's the problem with the current state of FOSS? Like, why is this great idea that can help in so many ways not a great situation? It's because companies don't want to do it. Why would a company not want to do it? Because it's not so profitable. Even if you can get money, you can sell your support. Why not instead get you can have your support for money, and you can sell this to your users, and do that fine. But instead, you can just give this. You can charge money however much you want. You don't need to worry. Nobody else will get access to it. There will be no second alternatives. There will be no C. In here, there might be a C. There might be a C selling giving software for free. Here, there won't be. So they can instead charge more money. They can simply give it to they can simply sell it as it is. They can market it as they want. They can do whatever the heck they want. And nobody can, change anything about it. This also means they can control. So they can throw in control. They can decide what their users do. And X cannot go share source code. X cannot do that. That is not allowed. Instead, the company can decide what they do with it. They cannot improve upon it. They cannot version it. They cannot do anything. The company is the only one from where anybody can get anything. That means all the profits go to the company, and that means they get money. Also, it's easier to simply give software that costs money than it is to purchase support for it, than it is to actually do any work towards it besides actual software itself. And that means the company, of course, will want to do this. And also, we don't know proprietary software this time. Most people don't care about FOSS. So companies can get away with this. They can, just do whatever. They can, have this proprietary software. They can sit down and nobody can use it. They can kill it. They can, do whatever they want because nobody's there complaining about it because masses, your people, they are buying proprietary software. Let's go proprietary software P for now. They are buying P, the proprietary software instead, not the Fs, not the open source. No, they buy proprietary, and that means so they don't buy the open source stuff, they buy the closed source stuff, and that's a problem. That is what people go for because this stuff people market. This is the popular. Windows opens, Windows closed source, Windows proprietary, Mac OS proprietary, iOS proprietary, so on. All these popular things are proprietary. People are not able to access them. People aren't able to get source code, and that's that. It's proprietary things, and that's what people get. And what's the problem with this proprietary thing? It is the previous mentioned disadvantages. So only the company can fix things. Nobody else can fix bugs. X cannot put in bugs. They cannot crash bugs. The bugs are going to be there, regardless of regardless of X ones. X, why Can't make can't make a new one. Nope, that's not possible. And so on. So it's going to be stuck this way. It's going to be this and this alone. Only this can go to customers. And that's the problem. Nothing can be done about it. And that means it's going to die when it dies. There's going to be a death date. And it's going to be whenever the company makes it. But if it's open source, it can continue it. Why? And why can continue it? So that's why you might want your software to be open source. It simply benefits. It simply means the software is open. It can work can be done with it, and it's stuck to a single party. That also means less control, and overall, it means more people contribute, and that benefits software. You're not going to have to read issues. You aren't gonna have to read bad code because company can't even offer to fixing it. Um, take something like Adobe software, for example. It's very bloated. It's very stuck. It's going to be that way because nobody's going to fix it. Nobody's going to. People can't make their lighter work of it. It's going to be the way it is, and you're going to have to pay huge amounts of money because there's no work of it. That's free. It's going to be the way it is. That's how it is going to be. So, what they're recommending use open source and free software where possible. It's great. If you want to do storing apps, use Krita. If you want to use, I'm on that right now. If you want to use photo editor, so that GIMP. If you want to look at this, if you want to look at an operating system, Linux or the BSD systems, anything else, so on. So there's a lot of options here, a lot of things you can do, and yeah. With that way, that's really my discussion here. I hope you had a good time listening to this rambling, and have a nice day. And you know, I guess it's time to say see you, and I'll see you around in the following content, I guess.